Hello, welcome. Just give me a thumbs up or type in the comments that you got the video and audio sorted out. Welcome, Arthur. How are you doing? Arthur, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up or just unmute yourself and let me know. Okay, good to go. Okay, I think a couple of folks are trying to get the Zoom. If you can't get into the Zoom, don't worry, you can watch it on Facebook Live and just ask your questions in the comments. But yeah, Zoom link should work. We have at least one person who was able to join, so if you can't, try again. I'm gonna drop the link in the comments once again on the Facebook Live. All right, I'm gonna start, and hopefully more people can join live. If not, the replays are gonna be up in the group indefinitely, so whoever is unable to join can watch them later. So oh, there you go, Bruce. The more the merrier. All right, awesome. So we got Bruce, Taylor, Arthur, and a couple of more people joined on Facebook, so it's gonna be good. Oh, more people, that's awesome. Welcome everyone, thank you for joining. Oh, Alex. All right, awesome. So let's start and go through with the content. So this is a follow-up to a 5-day intensive that I've done last month. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on my story, who I am, why I'm doing this, and all that stuff. It's all available in the replays from the challenge that I did. So if you go into the group, into the announcements or feature, depending on whether you are joining from a computer or mobile device, you will see the training content from last month, and some assignments, missions that you need to complete in order to actually benefit from the training. And there's also a survey that you can answer to help me shape the next training sessions. So this one was based on the popular demand. Seemed like a lot of folks were into selling stuff online, which is e-commerce, so that's why I decided to make a session dedicated specifically to e-commerce. So we're going to go as far as we can today, about an hour and a half, and if there's some stuff left over that I'm unable to cover, or there are additional questions, there's got to be a follow-up session or two this week or next week. But I'll try to go through this the best I can at this date. So once again, thanks. Very briefly, so I'm a warrant officer in the Canadian Armed Forces, infantry, and serving still in a reserve regiment. And I've been doing digital marketing for almost 14 years and e-commerce for about 4 or 5 years, give or take. And this is a result from my main store. Like this was from this summer. We cleared 3 million. Those are US dollars in sales over about 4.5 years, give or take. So I have a couple of other smaller stores, but this is like the flagship project. So that's what I'm going to use as an example. And let's go through the content. And first of all, I wanted to thank everyone for actually being part of the group, inviting people in the group. Like, we're already about 150 strong. Obviously I'd like it to grow a lot bigger, and just if you like the content, if it's valuable, or if you simply know someone who can benefit from this, please share the group. It's open to any veteran of first responder. It doesn't matter, Canadian, Commonwealth, US, because like it's hard to get the word out. I've been working hard, and we're only at 150. So three things we're going to cover today. So I'm going to recap on the most popular e-commerce business models that I know, and then we're going to review the 3 ways to grow a business as it applies to e-com, and then we're going to go through basically I'm going to open the doors to our own store and just show like behind the scenes, under the hood of what we've done to go from 0 to 3 million. And again, I've already included the screenshots. Enough of that. I'm not alone in the sense of making e-commerce work as a veteran. Just some of the examples. This is from some of the slides you will recognize from the training from the last month. So this is Mike George. He's a Canadian Special Operations veteran. Now he owns a physical store in Ottawa selling gourmet stuff. And then there was another slide that I didn't include, but basically it was 100% or 95% in person before COVID, and then during COVID it went like 80-20, 80 being e-commerce, 20 being foot traffic. So like he really saved his business going online and going digital. And very humble fella, and very soft-spoken, but he paid attention, and he's not a computer guy or anything. He basically made it work. Some other examples again from last week. So Arrowhead Coffee, also a Canadian soft veteran, started based in St. Catharines. Like they don't have any physical presence, and they're purely grown through organic social media, and they got I think 14 people now working for them. So they're doing well. Aussie Peelback, that's I think it's a currently serving member. It's a tactical first aid kit, pretty innovative, pretty much grown organically through social media, and doing fairly well. They're in US, Canada, Australia, Great Britain, New Zealand already. So, and the guy is still in, he's still serving. Fire Moto Apparel, I wanted actually Rishi to join. It's actually someone I'm mentoring through a mentorship program. He just closed 30 grand in a single month, just last month, selling motorcycle apparel. And he was a vehicle tech in Edmonton. He quit just this summer. He quit the military and started doing this full time. Started a year ago during COVID, when they were shut down, sitting at home instead of playing PlayStation. Started teaching himself Shopify and Facebook ads and TikTok, and basically there he is now. So another person, this is not a military guy, it's an Australian police detective. It's a friend of mine. I met him in Vegas a couple of years ago. So basically, like first year they did $4 million selling women's leggings online. I think overall he's now to the tune of 20-25 mil. He's got deals with Disney licensing, so they got a e-com agency, so doing fairly well. Here's an American brother. He's holding this big plaque. Oh, there's Rishi. There you go. That's the guy from Fire Moto that I mentioned. Hey Rishi, welcome. I was just talking about you, just literally 2 slides ago. Yeah, good to see you. So, anyway, so we're just going through some examples of other vets that have done well in e-commerce. So, people realize that I'm not just tooting my own horn, and I'm a pretty small fish compared to some of these killers, like this guy. So it's I think a artillery active duty guy in the U.S. Army, and this plaque signifies 10 million in revenue confirmed, and basically that's his business. So can you mute, man? Or whoever's got some doggies in the background. Awesome. So yeah, so that's his site. That actually looks like shit. Pardon me, but sold $10 million worth of flagpoles to patriotic people in the U.S. Um, anyway, so there you go. He's got that going. Why am I showing you this? Is because, like I said, it's not just me. I'm not a freaking unicorn or anything. Just a guy. And there's other people from the first responder and military community who have made it. And e-commerce, right? So okay, so you may remember some of these slides from if you have watched the challenge materials from November. But basically, yeah, so the three major models in e-commerce that I know and have some success with or experience is drop shipping, which is selling other people's products. Then there's white labeling, which is also selling other people's products, except you brand them as your own. And then there's like straight up branding, developing and selling your own products. So side note, digital products, coaching services, they can also be sold online, so they sort of fall into this category of e-commerce, if you will. So if you have a digital product like a course or an ebook, a lot of this will still apply. But in a traditional sense, e-commerce means like it's a physical product, like you're selling this phone case to a consumer, and it's going to get manufactured somewhere, shipped, and you got to get it into their hands and then support them through any issues that they've got. We started drop shipping in around 2016, and basically, doing affiliate marketing, a little bit of agency work, just basically helping other people market their products. And I'm like, all right, I'm doing all this work, and as soon as I stop dancing, the money stops, basically. So somebody decides to fire my agency, I'm done. Somebody decides to stop the affiliate promotion, I'm done. Which means, okay, how do I create an asset for myself? And e-commerce was like, oh, well, I create a brand, I sell some products, I create a customer database, I start to create a relationship with people. So that's an asset you can sell, you can get some value out of, right, and grow it long term. So initially started drop shipping, so basically going to Chinese websites looking for cool products that will catch someone's attention on Facebook or Instagram, creating stores around them and running ads, because that's what we knew how to do. Then what ended up happening is a couple of those products, they started blowing up, and we decided, well, it was not really intentional, it was just like, what are the next steps? So we ended up creating a white label, which means we took a product and started slapping our own brand on it, and that's the brand under which we were advertising it in the West. And then we ended up developing a custom version of the same product based on the requests from the customers. They were like, we really want this and that feature. Like after a while, we like actually caught on and found a way to manufacture. So it was probably the closest to branding and developing our own product. Never developed like a product from scratch. So that's somebody you see on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. Typically you will see like, okay, we have this idea for this product, let's get some funding, and then we're gonna prototype it and create it. So that's the process that I have never gone through, just simply because maybe I'm not that creative. I don't have such ideas of like revolutionary new products. I'm usually good at like improving an existing idea. I guess, well, the closest I came to branding also was when we tested print-on-demand apparel. So we would create our own designs and try to put them on shirts and items and try to sell them. So that's also kind of branding. Right. So drop shipping, again, most videos or courses you will see, especially from before, from the old days, they would teach you basically go to like Alibaba or AliExpress, find a product and try to sell it in the US and make a margin. So that can still probably work, but it's getting harder because like that's what everybody's trying to do. So everybody's trying to fish from the same pond. And I mean, in all honesty, we tested like over 100 products and we only made 3 or 4 work. So yeah, that's not ideal. And again, if you go through the 5-day challenge material, I go into, you know, the quote unquote the right way to choose your market. I'm going to touch on it a little bit in a moment, but essentially try to test random products like, you know, that worked 5 years ago. Right now, most likely you will not be successful. So but in any case, I have a couple of resources. Let's see. Right. So, for instance, we compiled this list of non-China sourcing. You can drop ship items from an American manufacturer. Like we had two or three small deals with like tactical equipment manufacturers. They were manufacturing some sort of like ghillie suits and like carry bags for rifles. And they'll basically agree to drop ship, which means we sell the thing, we send them an email or an Excel file with all the information of who bought, and they just ship the items to the buyer when we never touch the product. Like drop shipping really is just a model of fulfillment. It's just it's getting confused lately with like, you know, buy stuff from AliExpress and sell it on Shopify kind of thing. That's just one sliver of drop shipping, but in reality you can work out a deal with a major manufacturer to sell their goods and never touch them, and just as long as you can meet that margin, you're good to go. So, you know, just a sample list. It's, you know, it's a little bit old, but basically there are these like services. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. They basically compile manufacturers that are not Chinese, that are willing, that understand the dropship model, and they're willing to work with dropshippers. And I mean, dropshipping isn't new. Like there was in the 90s, I was reading about people dropshipping on eBay at the time. Like they would basically sell stuff on eBay and then arrange for it to be shipped to somebody and never touch it. And then there's all these like Korean, European, Taiwanese. There's of course India, Pakistan, like all the other countries. Really, like could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be freaking Alibaba, where everybody else is going. There's some more services popping up like YO, Udroppy. I met, they're based in Italy. These guys are like, I think, Chinese. So they're kind of, I guess, a bit of a sourcing agency. So they compile a bunch of products into the database and then present it to sellers, and you can pick and choose. So, you know, that's kind of, so if you're gonna do it, probably not a good idea to go where everybody else is fishing, which is Alibaba, AliExpress, and maybe try some of these deals, or like look for someone close to home. Maybe support another veteran-owned brand that's big and sell their stuff. Okay. Does this make sense so far? Just give me a thumbs up or a yes. Okay, what about white labeling? So white labeling is basically getting an agreement from the manufacturer to allow you to sell their stuff with your brand. So it's very popular with, for instance, supplements. We actually ended up buying a supplement brand last year, and it's a manufacturer in Utah, and they manufacture for multiple brands. It's all the same stuff, it's just a different label on the bottle. That's literally why it's called white labeling. But you can apply it to any physical product. So, you know, somebody makes a pair of boots, you know, you can sell them on, you know, Arthur's boots in one part of the country, and then Rishi can sell Rishi's boots in the other part of the country, and it's all the same boot. So that's kind of how it works. And then, yeah, developing and selling your own product. Again, I have the least experience with that, but it's probably the kind of like the highest barrier to entry you can erect around your product. Why? Because yes, we got ripped off with our dropshipping products. We have a lot of copycats with our white label products. So you got to have something unique to bring to the market. And again, I go into it in the 5-day training. So keep that in mind. All right. Again, the recap. Why I like e-commerce is because the low barrier to entry, and it's potentially a long-term income asset that you can either keep or exit if you wish at a multiple. Cons are also low barrier to entry, which means high competition, and it's a lot of moving parts. Like, it's not the same as just like being an agency where you like fulfill one service and that's it. Whereas here you gotta figure out like all the way from conception and design to sourcing, fulfillment, customer service, shipping, logistics, and you end up scaling with people. So you end up having to hire out because you cannot humanly do it all yourself once you reach a certain level. So once it becomes anything more than a hobby, then you're gonna have to scale with people, and that's a whole new challenge, right? Like, that's something I'm personally struggling with often, is finding the people who can support your business at a high level. And also you need a little bit of budget to start. I mean, you can start with a very, very low budget, but still I think it requires a little bit more budget than, let's say, again, you starting an agency where you basically teach yourself a skill and then go to find clients. Technically that's totally free. With e-commerce, you end up having to have some budget either for the product or for advertising or design. So there's got to be a little bit of it, but it's not a huge amount, like if you do it smartly. I mentioned about picking your market and your product. So that's the biggest, I think, the biggest thing that you need to spend your time on. Again, going back, rewatch day 2. I go in more detail, but basically the reason why I was struggling a lot is because we were just doing it backwards, if you will. If you really spend the time on choosing who you're going to serve as an audience and figure out what real problems that they have, real painful problems, right? Not nice to have, but like, I need this solved now. That's your best bet. And basically try to be very specific and call yourself a blue ocean niche. Again, there's a whole book written about red ocean versus blue ocean. If you want to read it, that's probably gonna do you a lot of good. But yeah, basically that's what I would advise. So it has to be a real product solving a real problem for a real person that you ideally know very well, because you got to understand them, and you got to know their problems, you got to speak their language, and ideally you want to be the number one go-to person in that niche that you create, because there's no tactical advantage to being the number 2, right? And when you intimately know your customer, then you don't even have to sell anymore. They just buy, right? So you got to ensure that it's meaningful enough in terms of a total addressable market size. So like, I mean, I see a lot of people, they do this like hobby thing where it's like some sort of a sticker for only artillery, whatever. So okay, that's cool, but realize that you'll never scale with that business unless you do something, because it's only limited to that tiny audience. I mean, they'll probably love you and buy from you a lot, but it's such a tiny market that you won't probably be large enough to support your lifestyle. So that's kind of like, if you want a hobby lifestyle business, make a couple of grand on the side, maybe that's okay. But if you want go into 6-7 figure business, then make sure that market is niche, yet it's big enough, right? So or be prepared to go outside of Canada. That's not a thing, is because a lot of people are focused on like Canada only, and then if it's not a super Canadian product, but something that can be sold in the States, for instance, or in UK, whatever, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table by not going to that big market, again, if you can. So again, very quickly, another recap slide. So often your audience will tell you what they need the most. You got to offer them something they really want to buy, and you got to solve a specific problem. It may be a problem you've encountered yourself, or that that people in your niche are having. And keep in mind that people will always choose cure over prevention. Like if you have you might not brush your teeth twice a day, but you will go to the dentist pronto if you have a painful root canal, right? And then specificity always beats generality. So that's another thing where, like, we had a lot of products that are like, oh, it's a cool thing, it looks cool, but then if you think about it, it doesn't solve a problem, or it's like a problem, like we had a comment on one of the ads is like, oh, it's a solution looking for a problem. So it's like people aren't even aware that they have this problem, so you need to educate them about this problem first and then tell them that this is the solution to the problem they just learned about. That's not the same as they have a problem that needed to be solved for months, and now they stumble upon your product. Oh, this is what I want. Completely different dynamics. All right. The biggest thing is also in e-commerce, besides, like, once you have a good offer, like, you got to figure out, like, where you're going to get traffic from it, right? So it's sort of sorted in the order that I typically see it done. It's usually people make something and they start to promote it in person, offline. They go to, like, trade shows and farmers markets, and in person, online. They post in Facebook groups. They maybe start an Instagram page, do a TikTok. They try to go to traditional media, PR, and then they start going into influencer marketing and running ads. Me being an advertising guy, I started from basically in the reverse order, from the bottom up here. We started running ads and just testing stuff. Of course, that requires money. So again, that depends, how much budget you've got, but you got to think like, okay, I have this product that I'm created and it really solves a problem, but how am I going to get it in front of people? Because if you can't, if you build them and they will come, that is not true, especially now in today's world where it's so noisy and people see an ad every 8 seconds and just, it's crazy. So you got to be able to figure out not only what you're going to sell, but also how you're going to get eyeballs on it, right? That's very important, and a lot of people don't have that strategy. And then your delivery vehicle, basically, most cases you just send visitors straight to your product. What a lot of people are not doing is they're not giving any additional value. Like this morning, like, okay, I have this cool license plate or whatever, like you can pick your RCR or artillery or like airborne paratrooper, and just a link to the page. And okay, that's great, but like you could be doing so much more to like beef it up. Like you can add bonuses, you can write content about it, have some cool pre-sale marketing angles, so you can always add value before you sell your product in order to pre-sell it so it sells harder. And yeah, as far as the delivery vehicle, typically there is I see either Amazon or your own storefront. So I purposely didn't separate Amazon into like its own business model, because in a way it is a business model, but I like to think of it as just a delivery vehicle, because all of the same things apply that I just mentioned, except traffic, right? Traffic will be pretty much Amazon itself. You still need the product that solves the problem. You still need to make sure it's got a large enough audience of people and all of those other things. We started with our own storefront on Shopify. We ended up actually going on Amazon to because I just learned the term yesterday. It's called halo traffic. But essentially what it is somebody sees an ad on Google or Facebook for a product, and they're so trained, they're so accustomed to shop on Amazon, instead of going to my store, they go on Amazon and look for it there. And that's the only reason why I added an Amazon storefront. But that's, if you got a little bit of a brand going, if you got a little bit of a buzz, if you're not on Amazon, you are probably missing out. With that said, it's also very hard, especially when you're just alone or small team, to be keeping track of all of those things, making sure your store is good to go, but also doing Amazon and all of that. So it's a dichotomy. Okay, really, in terms of the delivery vehicle, Shopify, 29 bucks a month. That's all we use. Sometimes we use ClickFunnels for a single product, but really, um, use a nice theme. A lot of them are free. Make sure you got great photography, videography, and really come up with an irresistible offer. And then there's again, day 2 training from November has some content around how to create what's called an offer, and there's a reference to a really great book that will teach you. Why? Because an irresistible offer with great creatives will always outsell great marketer with a shitty offer and average creatives, especially now. Like, it's all about creatives and offer on the front end. That's how you win. Okay, so any of this makes sense? Is is it good? If you like it so far, just give me a thumbs up or let me know. Okay, Alex, thank you. All right, so let's move on. And again, this is a recap slide. How to make $1 million, specifically with ecom. So this is a book from this guy, founder of capitalism.com. He's got a pretty good podcast. He's got a couple of books published. So he's more focused on Amazon/Kickstarter model, but what I agree with is, yeah, if you come up with 3 or 5 products, even at this average price of 30 bucks, and you manage to get them to sell 25-30 units per day, that's $1 million. For us, we ended up selling 1 product or 2 to get to that point, and the price point was higher. Initially it was about 30 bucks, but then we actually got to $50-$60 per unit, because we are using paid advertising and they're mostly on Amazon. So key difference. But what this is not to argue technicalities, it means that if 1 million, it's a lot of money. Yes, it's a lot of money, but if you break it down into like manageable chunks, it's like when you're going through a tough course in the military and you got to get through a month in the field. You just break it into I got to get to lunch, I got to get to dinner, I got to get to breakfast, right? Like, that's the same thing. And people don't believe him. I tend to agree, but we've made it. Okay, so again, recap slide. Growing a business. There's only 3 ways to grow a business: to get more customers, get them to buy more from you, and then get them to come back more often. So I keep hammering it, but essentially, getting more customers. There's a whole module in November about traffic, and I have more in-depth stuff about specifically like Google traffic. If you go to HR marketing on YouTube, there's some stuff about that. I may do a more in-depth encore in the group later. But essentially, oftentimes traffic is not the problem. Sometimes it is, but it should be fairly easy to get it, especially if you have the money. The big question is how do you get them to buy from you, and how to get them to buy more and more often. So this is what we're gonna go into right now. So getting them to buy more is essentially you got to be like Amazon, and you got to be like your best human salesperson, except online. I'm going to explain what I mean by that in a minute. So very simple stuff, actually, how to get them to buy more, even if you have 1 product. Like, that's it. I guarantee you, like 90% of people that I have encountered, they don't do this. So first of all, like, you gotta measure. What I mean by that is use free Google Analytics. It's free, and figure out, okay, where are my customers coming from, and how can I do more of it. So if you see like most of your customers are coming from Google, maybe you should do more Google. If you see that they're mostly coming from Facebook, maybe you should do more Facebook. Right? Double down on that. You can also look at metrics such as what's my conversion rate, what's my bounce rate, like how quickly people are leaving, and try to improve that. So if you see like one of the pages has got an above average bounce rates, which means people are leaving that page more, maybe there's something wrong with it. Maybe you got to fix it, or maybe that's a shitty product, you got to drop it. So that's the thing. And another thing that people don't do enough of, or don't do at all, is it's called CRO, conversion rate optimization, or essentially it's testing different variations of the same thing, and it's really free money. Like, it doesn't cost you really anything to do, and if you have some sort of traffic coming to your products already, this is how you squeeze more, basically get more people to pay attention and buy than your version 1, right? Like, you create a page and just leave it be, that's your version 1. If you never test it, you will never pick up any additional customers. Whereas, well, these are examples, so we changed the button color, and on average we got 15% more people to buy. So that's 15% improvement in revenue from a button color. We tested headlines, and out of 4 headlines, well, first of all 3 were better than the original, and then 2 of them were 34% more sales just from a headline. This is from a lead gen campaign, but it doesn't matter. And again, this is how it looks like. So we tested a price point. This is same product, basically testing price sensitivity. So as it ended a little early, but essentially one price point ended up converting like almost 50% higher, and earnings per click were almost double, right? So with this, for every visitor to the site, we averaged $1.45 in earnings. With this price, it was $2.85. Okay. All right, Rishi, thank you. Make sure you watch the replay, or if you have any points you want to add, we'd love to have you as a guest. Present maybe some of your tips later. So thanks. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is basically something that people don't do. Even like if you have a little bit of traffic, a little bit of sales going, and you're like scratching your head, how do I grow? Like, this is one of the easy ways to do it. And like, just to give you an example, so this is Google Optimize. We use it's free, and it it's very easy to use, and you can create different variations of your page and test different things on it. And just to give you some context, like, hope it loads, how many tests we've done with this store. I think my computer is running out of resources. That's why it's not loading, because I'm streaming. But anyways, we've done dozens and dozens and dozens of those stores. Tests on this one store, just testing all kinds of different things: headlines, buttons, images, price points, everything. Doesn't cost you anything. As long as you have visitors to the site, you're good to go. Okay, so that's one way how you can get people to buy more of your stuff. Another thing, again, I mentioned it earlier, is you got to come up with more products, and not just like a garden variety of products, but like maybe a logical up and down the ladder of what else people need to solve their problem besides that initial product that they come to your store for. So it's like McDonald's offering fries with the burger. Here's an example on Amazon. Basically, you try to buy some like a camera, and they suggest that you buy a kit and some lighting and all of that to go with it, right? Help make it better. Here's again a classic example with flashlights. So first of all, they were introducing discounts for buying more units. So the more you buy, the more you save, and that alone was a big game changer. And then they had all of these upsells up the wazoo. So you buy a flashlight, well, you need batteries now, don't you, right? Oh well, you bought a big flashlight, now you got to buy a small one too, right? And then obviously you're probably afraid of the dark, so here's a home light motion alarm, and you're probably crazy about self-defense. Well, here's a knife, and here's a warranty for all of this expensive stuff you just bought. So this guy was making a lot of money with each customer, just because they didn't stop with offering them just one thing. They were offering them more of the same thing, and then all of these additional things to actually, improve their results or solve their problem better, right? So that's another very tactic that you can do. And then repeat business. So the easiest is if you have a consumable product, you just try to create some sort of a subscription. So if it's like a subscription box, supplements, coffee, they're perfect. People are just going to reorder if they like it. It could even be a digital, like a newsletter or a membership. Like the same flashlight guy that I just showed you, he ended up creating an association of, I think it was American Association of Gun Owners, and they would charge him like $29 a month to basically get discounts on ammo and gun parts. And that was very powerful. People would stay on for a year or so they would get an additional several $100s from these people. Another email is very underused. Like we ended up actually spending a lot of time on our email, and we would get 25% or more additional revenue just from emailing our past customers, different deals, promotions, Black Friday sales, you name it. But essentially, yeah, like if they come to you and buy once and you never email them again with your new offers, then you're constantly hustling for new business, whereas you can be getting 30% of your past customers to come back and buy. It's another thing, really powerful. Okay, so how's this so far? Any helpful tips you've discovered that can maybe help you take your business to the next level, or something that you will need to do? Give me a thumbs up, or if you have any questions, just post them in the comments or chat. Or all right, awesome. So here's a thanks, Arthur. Okay, so here's the real, like, this is where I'm gonna the hood and go into how we sold 7 figures worth of product. So really, let's go down the memory lane a little bit. So basically, by the way, this loaded. So Google Optimize. Like, look at all of the different tests we've done. Nah, it's not scrolling. Okay. Anyways, doesn't matter. So this is actually, I went back today and I looked at this store and all the different products that we had. And we ended up deleting a lot of the ones that didn't work, but we tested, like I said, over 100 products. And the first one was the same tactical flashlight. So remember, I showed you the flashlight just a minute ago. So of course, being affiliate marketers and not having any cool ideas of our own, we just ripped their idea and tried to do the same. So we actually made a little bit of money with it, but at the end of the day, it was so saturated that we didn't get very far. We still sold them, but we didn't get very far. So that's why if you're just trying to jump on some sort of an opportunity, oftentimes you're kind of like the last car of the train and you may miss the mark. So that's why, like, you got to add something unique. You got to create something of your own, ideally, rather than just copycatting other products. Yet you can still have some limited success with that. So, but anyway, so that was our very first foray into e-commerce. It's selling the same flashlight that guy was selling, trying to basically his business model, and it even worked for a little bit until it didn't. And then with some tactical gloves, we sold a little bit of those. So again, different plays and flashlights, more gloves, and then you start seeing endo snake. So endo snake, here's what it was. So basically, again, so yeah, 2017 was a lot of people going to AliExpress and looking for crap to sell, and you basically just could only compete on price unless you like have unique ideas for products or whatever. So this is the initial screenshot, but yeah, basically we found 2 products that we copied from other people, and we got almost $2 million in a short period of time. Like one point in time we were selling $40,000 a day. over 50,000 sales at the time, big email list of 70,000. And what this was, so one of the products was this like a tiny security camera, and the other one was this thing. Basically plugs into your phone and you can inspect the drain. And we thought, oh, this is cool. So we started basically promoting it. And yeah, they already sold thousands of these. So we're like, all right, this is a hot selling item, let's promote it. Well, okay. Who wants it? Plumbers, electricians, HVAC, handyman. So we started basically showing it to those people. And of course, because there were already thousands of those sold, results weren't great. Like, it was expensive and we had some sales, but it wasn't profitable. And then I basically ended up coming up with a new marketing angle. And what it is just apply the product to a completely new application or audience. And basically, like, okay, I started to remember, well, I remember in the movies, like, all the tactical teams were using the under the door camera. And I started Googling for it and basically found a video on YouTube. This was the video. So a guy put it up a pistol barrel. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So basically we paid the guy a couple of $100 for this video and tested it, and boom, it was on fire, right? Because he basically took the same product from plumbers and all the people who were fed up with it and started showing it to somebody who's never seen it before, and they're like, oh my god, this is so cool. Now again, in retrospect, this is more of a this is so cool thing than oh, I have a problem with my weapon and I need to fix it. So sometime later it came back and bit us in the ass, but initially there was a big surge that actually blogging. Well, unfortunately Bruce left, but I'll answer this question for Bruce. So the question from Bruce was, does blogging work as a traffic generation? Yes, if you remember the slide that I showed earlier about adding value in front of the product, this is what blogging can do. Right here. So this is blogging is really a way to create content. So this is it. Yes. Again, how easy is it to create a blog in 2021 from nothing that will get a lot of visitors? It's probably not easy, but it's doable if you have a lot of information. There's Bruce. So Bruce, I was just answering a question about blogging, I guess, as a traffic generation strategy. So yes, thinking back to this slide, blog is just a form of content. So it can definitely work if you put content in front of the product, such as reviews, comparisons, how-tos, things of that nature. With that said, it is probably very challenging to get a blog from zero to something meaningful in 2021, because there's so much content. It's not like 2006 anymore. But in essence, like, TikTok is a video blogging platform in a way, if you think about it, right? So as long as you are putting out some valuable content, and especially if you can achieve virality, then yeah, for sure. So right now, I know that a lot of people are growing through TikTok. That's like their biggest platform, and it's not really just for dancing teenagers, but now there's like real brands getting crazy engagement on TikTok from like real people, and it's just, yeah, basically they're creating valuable content, like how to use this thing properly, how do you compare this thing with the other thing, how review, this is how it works, and if it's interesting enough and engaging enough, it will definitely help. So like the Aussie Peelback guys with the first aid kit that I told about in the beginning of the presentation, so one of their most viral videos, actually, let's see it. Let's see if I can. It's a TikTok video where they shot their first aid kit with this AR-15, and it was like 1 million kits. Okay, I lost my thing. No. Here we go. So, so we're jumping ahead a little bit, but this is why I like this live format more. So obviously this is the typical type of content you will see, is like somebody dancing and it's got 2.3 million likes, okay. But it's not just that. We got 138,000 freaking subscribers. And they're selling a tactical, like, bulletproof first aid kit, basically. That's their thing. So you can see like 90,000 views. Not bad. 900,000 views. 700,000. So basically, yeah, they shoot up their stuff with guns, and that catches fire like crazy, right? Maybe in a year it will not work as much, but yeah, look, that's the type of content they basically are reviewing their own product in a way and just putting it to the test, like shoot it with guns, boom. You know what I mean? Crazy. So that's also jumping a little bit ahead, but anyways, let's get back to our story. So yeah, with this video we did $1.9 million. That's really just scaling the hell out of this video to audience on Facebook, and it was very rapid rise, but then of course it died very quickly in a few months when we ran out of people who have not seen this video before. But what this basically shows that we took like a run-of-the-mill product, and instead of trying to sell it to the same people who already were sick of seeing it, we found a new blue ocean for it. And eventually we ran out of that too, but hey, it was nice while it lasted. Okay. So, then it kind of fizzled out in 2018, and we were like, okay, sales are down, we're trying different things, but nothing really working. I almost killed it, but then I saw a lot of comments from people saying, well, why doesn't it fit into a 5.56? Because if you notice, like, it's fairly thick, so it goes into a 9 milli. Obviously, it doesn't go into a 5.56, and that's the most popular weapon systems in the US. So guess what? I started to pay attention once we ran out of sales, and it took 9 months of going back and forth with different manufacturers overseas, but we found one that was able to create a working prototype for a 3.9 millimeter unit that actually could go into a 5.56 or even like a 22. So that basically restarted things, and it took 1,000 in sales, but then that started to fizzle out again. And again, I almost gave up, but then this gentleman here decided all of a sudden to run an editorial article in Guns and Ammo on it, absolutely organically. I think his boss was a gunsmith in the Marine Corps and then in Blackwater, and they noticed it. They out to me actually. I sent them some samples. They said it was okay for the price, and then did a full page editorial. So this was pretty cool. And on the back end of that, I went to 2 trade shows in Vegas. So here's my team at the time. This is Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas, and this is the SHOT Show, which is the biggest gun show in the world, right? So you don't have to do this. It's not technically e-commerce anymore, but that helped to get primarily exposure to more media and PR, if anything. Like, we didn't end up doing a lot of deals, although there was interest from like all kinds of people, like SWAT teams. There was a guy from the SAS. There was, but yeah, it was basically reporters. Like, we got a couple of TV spots, a couple of radio spots, several magazine spots, all for free. The only investment was to get a booth at these shows, plus travel. But this is kind of not e-commerce, but hey, it's good. Okay, so then this is more like bullet points, so it's going to be just mostly impromptu. So yeah, essentially, like once you go beyond that, like one traffic channel, one product, like that will get old pretty fast. So then we ended up doing all these other things. So beyond Facebook, we went into Google. Then there's a couple of affiliates that either we reached out to or they reached out to us. So what affiliates are basically like somebody who will promote your product for a commission. So we had one guy who had like millions of emails subscribers in the tactical space, and basically worked up a deal that we're going to pay him $25 flat per sale. So he brought us a good amount of sales, and there's a couple of affiliate companies that reached out and kind of worked out the same deal. I don't know what traffic they used, probably email as well. So basically you just pay them for results. That's the beauty. So it's not like a marketing agency that says, well, pay us $10,000 a month and we'll maybe send you some sales. But if we don't, then sorry. These are like people who are risking their own money, and I am an affiliate too, so I know how it works. Or their own resources to get you results and get paid on results. So then, like I described, we ended up going into Amazon to scoop up those people who are searching on Amazon instead of buying it from my store. Ended up registering a trademark that helps to, well, first of all, it helps like to prevent other people from stealing your stuff with your name on it, and also it gives you like a better looking Amazon listing. If you have like a real trademark, it's they have a branded Amazon page which looks a lot better than the standard Amazon page. It's just some information I found out. I'm not really strong on Amazon, to be honest. It was more of an afterthought, really. So anyway, enough said on Amazon. And then we were reaching out to influencers to get the word out. A, B, reviews. C, we get user-generated content. So basically use their images, their videos as our own promotional materials. And also some of them signed up to be affiliates. So like somebody is an influencer, they have a big YouTube channel or something. Basically, they will make a post, and whoever buys from their link, they get a commission. So it incentivizes them to, basically do it for you. Let's go back and I'll show you what I mean. So that's me. Yeah, so basically if you look, most of this content I did not create. This is literally just other influencers with free sample. Obviously I have to eat the cost of the unit, but then like I would never have access to all of these weapons here in Canada myself. It would be impossible. Whereas here it's like all kinds of stuff. And really all it takes is just basically first I did it myself, but then I hired some people to go and just DM people. Add them, follow them, make some nice comments, just strike up a conversation and then say, hey, we have this thing, would you be interested in checking it out? And obviously it fizzled out. As you can see, in 2021 there wasn't a lot, but before there was a lot more. Again, kind of reaching our limit of exploitation here. But yeah, most of the content here, as you can see, is not mine. I didn't pay for it. I didn't go out to the range and spend all day shooting these guns. Was my team member. And we also, like I mentioned, had other magazine features. So there's ST magazine, there's some German magazine, Small Arms magazine. So I think, yeah, we ended up being featured in almost every publication in the gun industry. There's ABC News, and we're on the SHOT Show. So yeah, that's basically like a lot of tedious work, but it adds up. And then we did the same thing with people on YouTube, and recently started doing it with people on TikTok, although it's not really getting a lot of traction. So like if you go to YouTube, you will see videos that we did not create. So some of them are basically reposts. So like this is our video, but like this was, see, like Firearm Freedom, Hijack 86, so Deuce and Guns, Country Boy Guns. So these are all influencers that we send them the product and they post about it, so it gives like good SEO. Some people buy from the video, then we can use this video, cut it up in little pieces, use it as our own content. Obviously you have to get them to agree to it, but usually they don't have a problem. So look, all of this, we did not create this. So this is a very powerful and technically almost free way to get the word out, get nice looking content, get affiliates, get sales. So this is basically influencer marketing, at least the way I know it. So yeah, all right. Yep. Okay. So already mentioned all of these publications. We got some through outreach, just like this, emailing out of the cold. Some reached out to us, like Guns and Ammo. That was actually pretty cool. And then some we picked up through exposure at the trade shows. So now trade shows are coming back. Might consider that. I already mentioned the optimization and testing, so we did a lot of them. And then yeah, the product, the packaging, new models based on customer feedback. So yeah, basically I'll show you a few things. Yeah, so like we improved the packaging, like adding these boxes, nice looking boxes in there, like a few cents to get manufactured, but there's like a good protective case with nice branding. It looks amazing, as opposed to before they were just being sent in this like fucking Ziploc bag and looks like something inexpensively made. That alone made it world of difference. Then we ended up adding flyers inside the packaging that something like this. So thank you. Here's a welcome promo code for additional discount if you want to come back to our store. See, then it explains how to use the thing. There's links, so this is just some more branding and just helpful. Some people put like handwritten notes in, or I don't know, origami pieces. Just you can hire like grandmas who handwrite your personalized stuff. Like there's all kinds of things people do to try to stand out, to have that like cool unboxing experience. And I'm not the best at it, but there was just a nice touch that really kind of allowed us to step it up and even command a slightly higher price, because now it's got this nice packaging and everything. And yeah, fulfillment. So fulfillment, another thing like that prevents a lot of people from scaling. So I was talking to this guy and he's like, well, I'm stuck at 10 a day. I'm like, why? He's like, well, that's the maximum my wife and I can ship from our basement. I'm like, what? You're still shipping from your basement? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you're doing 30,000 a month. Why are you shipping out of your basement? Well, really no good reason. So if you can, you can outsource it, and you don't have to have your own warehouse. I mean, if if you do, like maybe the Arrowhead Coffee guy or some of the shirt manufacturers that I know, that's great. But we just ended up using a third-party logistics center, so product gets shipped to them. I don't touch it. It's in the United States, and then it's hooked up to our Shopify store, so an order automatically goes into the fulfillment center and they send it. Just it costs like an extra $1 or $2 on top of what the shipping carrier charges, like USPS or Canada Post. So it's really makes sense very early on to do that. And for customer service, we also had to hire some help, set up an integrated inbox for all of the email, Facebook messengers, Instagram DMs to go into this one central location where like a couple of part-time people just check it several times a day and respond to tickets. And there's also automations that can like answer most common questions, such as where is my order, and how do I use this? Well, here's a link to a video, right? So that's some of the stuff we've done to improve the product, get the new models out, and also improve the results on the store. So yeah, that's kind of it for the content that I prepared. So it tells you some of the fundamentals on e-commerce business, and then kind of an overview of what we've done to find the product that was selling, and then improve it so it was selling more, and then improve everything around it to really try to scale it up. You guys have any questions? Those who are live either on Facebook or on Zoom, you can just unmute yourself or whatever and just ask questions, or maybe like you have a question specific to your business or your business idea. Now would be the time to ask. Okay. Okay. Well, so you don't have an idea for a product of your own. You just basically, like, where are you in your business? I guess at which stage? Just conception, idea, or are you set on a certain? Right. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. So actually, this is completely different from the question you asked me about white labels. I think yeah. Okay, so on that note, again, this is not related to VetMe. Okay, so that's somebody I met in the United States and a few years ago. They're called VetMe. They're based in San Diego. It's see if I can find. So they do almost exactly what you described, except I think with metal. So they have a metal shop. Trying to find their website. So basically, yeah, like it's a U.S. Navy guy founded this, and let's see if I can find him. It's a metal shop, so if you talk to them, you strike up and probably just learn a lot just from what they've done. Just I'm sure they will open their playbook and let you know. So let me just find it for you. Because again, just one of the things I always subscribe to is like, you know, if it's not how, it's who. Like, it has someone done this before me. So instead of you trying to figure it out for yourself, either learn it from them or at least try to how they've done it by, you know, studying them. Does this make sense? Okay, let me see if, or maybe we can follow up online. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's called VetMade. Reach out to me after the call. I'll try to find their info for you. But going back to your question about white labeling, so like how do you find those manufacturers? So one resource is, again, like something like I showed you with these you know, databases. You can use them, and if they're willing to drop ship, chances are they're willing to drop ship with your brand on it. To give you an example how I've done it is so we wanted to release yet another version of the Endosnake that had a certain feature, and the manufacturer I'm working with, they were unable, after several rounds of prototyping, to do it. So then I saw a product from another manufacturer based in Hong Kong that had exactly everything that we needed, and they already had a bit of a brand going. And I'm like, okay, let me reach out. I'm like, hey, do you guys want to sell wholesale? The first I asked, do they drop ship? They said no, but we sell wholesale. I'm like, okay, wholesale is good. And then I asked, well, would you be willing to white label so I can sell it under my brand? And they're like, yeah, sure, we don't care. So that was as easy as that. So that's one example. Another example is some industries, it's more common to have white label. So like for the, let's say for supplements, you just look for white label supplement manufacturers, and that's exactly like the business that I acquired. They created their own brand. So and basically they're buying it. It's a standard product. It's not a custom formulation from one of these, you know, private label. Yeah. Also another term for this is private label. So basically, you can probably find like, you know, white label or private label plus whatever your product or industry is, but it's especially prevalent in, like, you know, the nutraceuticals and stuff. So, you know, what it is like, you know, you go to this, you know, vitamin C, right? It's the same all across the board, yet it's sold under different brands. So that's that's pretty much how it works, right? So yeah, see, like you can pick one of their existing ones, or you can have a custom formula. Boom. So some sort of gummy vitamins, you want to slap your own label, call it, you know, Arthur's gummies. There you go. And I just gave you an example how we did it for electronics. Maybe I can find it this way. Ah, so it's Vet Powered. They must have rebranded. So this is the company I was telling you about out of San Diego. This is one of the products that they made, and yeah, they have a metal fabrication shop, and they have vets come in, especially, you know, like PTSD or whatever. And yeah, see, like, they support advanced manufacturing training. So there you go. So right here. So basically, yeah, like you probably reach out to them if you need an introduction. Let me know. I'll dig up their email address, and you can basically repeat their process, and, you know, just see what they recommend. All right. Yeah, no worries. Okay, anything pertaining to the content we covered, or your pre-existing questions about e-commerce, or something specific to your business or your business idea? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Sure, thanks. The good question. So the book answer is you got 18 months on average before copycats or whatever move in and eat your lunch, right? So sometimes it happens faster, sometimes it happens slower. So for instance, if you have like just a general product, like a drop shipping product, or even a private label that has no unique features at all, that somebody else can email the same manufacturer and be in business the next day, there's all kinds of spy tools like for Amazon and for Shopify, for Facebook as it, like, they have like teams of people just hunting for ideas, like literally, like I know people who have like 12 Filipino virtual assistants just hunting for product ideas. So they will see your idea and steal it and copy it. So sometimes you can be copied like as soon as possible. But in general, if you have a little bit of uniqueness, then you would have about 18 months from based on what I hear and our own experience before you start noticing the copycat. So that means you need to have a next version 2.0, or maybe other products, and just keep iterating. I mean, maybe some products they have more of a evergreen approach. Like I can't think of an example right now, but I don't know, maybe let's say some sort of let's say it's a boot, right? Like combat boot or something. Well, if it's a really nice boot, you can probably sell it for a long time because it's a nice boot. Yeah, more like the more generic it is, I think the faster you're gonna get copied, or the faster it will fizzle out. Also, it depends a lot on the market size, right? So for instance, if it's just you're only selling it to people who free dive only in the Caribbean, and like it's a very small market, as opposed to, okay, you're selling to anybody who scuba dives, snorkels, or swims in the world. That's a lot bigger market. And also, are you going to be just one country, or can you scale worldwide, right? So for instance, if you're selling Canadian flags, you can only sell them in Canada, so your market is automatically restricted to Canada. If you sell, I don't know, flag poles, then you can sell them technically all around the world, depending on how patriotic they are. But essentially, yeah, like you can take the same campaign and then just go on the road show and just sell it in anywhere. That's kind of how it works. So those are probably good consideration points for picking your customer avatar in your market. Is it something really niche and really local, or is it something that's really scalable worldwide? Yeah, I see Alex giving me a thumbs up, so that probably means I've answered this question. Okay, Bruce has a couple of questions in the chat. All right, can you advertise on Amazon without having a product in their warehouse? Yes. Have a link to a store when they click on product in Amazon? No. So the way it works is actually we have that same setup. So you can have your product listed on Amazon, but not use FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. It's using third-party fulfillment. I think you lose some sort of points, like cookie points with Amazon for doing that, but it is allowed. So if you have, like, basically we have our own 3PL, third-party logistics center. I think the warehouse is based in Tennessee. So we hooked up their interface to Amazon. So whenever there's a shipment from Amazon, it goes to the warehouse and they sell it. So they ship it, sorry. The downside is that it's not as quick as FBA, but it's less expensive, and you don't have to have, like, again, this is kind of as you grow, you're gonna have an inventory here, inventory there, like it's a lot more moving parts. So yeah, it is possible. It's basically your own fulfillment. As long as, I mean, if you're fulfilling out of your basement, that they may have a problem with that, but we're already past that stage when we went on Amazon. So so it's possible. I also know there's a lot of Chinese sellers on Amazon that items were being sent from China, because like whenever you order something on Amazon and you see like it will get to you in a month, you know that it's not being sent from the United States. It's being sent from overseas. So yeah, I think it is allowed. But no, you cannot have somebody go from Amazon to your store. I think what you can do, or at least you could do, is use Amazon PPC, so Amazon pay-per-click ads. Actually, let's see. So basically, I think you can have ads on Amazon. You have to pay for them that lead outside of Amazon. So let's see if that is still true. So in the old days, when I would type tactical flashlight, I would see ads that would lead to third-party websites off of Amazon. I don't know if they still allow it. Let's see. So yes, he's sponsored. This is an Amazon ad, but it leads to an Amazon listing. Now let's see if yeah, maybe they disallowed it. But yeah, in the past I have seen ads on Amazon that lead to outside of Amazon stores. I think it may not. But anyways, so hope that answered your question, your first question. Let's see. Okay. My problem is, where do you go once you build a store? That's what's stopping me. Okay, so so I suggest you watch my training from November, and also go back to the beginning of today's session, but essentially I touch on it. So if you build it, they will come. That is almost never gonna happen in today's world. Like, you gotta have a strategy on how you're going to attract people, aka traffic, to your store. So again, going back, right here. So this is where I touched on it, and there's more in-depth info in the challenge training. But essentially, yeah, like you can. So if you build a store, you gotta already have a plan of where you're gonna get the traffic from. You gotta figure out where your people are congregating, where they're hanging out, and how you're gonna get in front of them. And this is the spectrum of things you can do. So you can run ads. You need money for it. You can try to find influencers, like I showed you with our Instagram account and our YouTube account, to try them, review your products and send traffic to your store. Affiliates will not probably pick up your product until you have some proof that it actually works. They will rarely go onto promoting an untested product. You can try to get the word out through traditional media and PR. Get some magazines, whatever, review it. Again, valid strategy. Sometimes if you can get into the news, sure. And then just your good old networking, going into Facebook groups, have your own content, your blog, your TikTok account, your Instagram, a YouTube channel, and also offline, like go to events, trade shows, meet people, distributors, that's another big thing, is like joint ventures and referrals with other service providers. So if you find somebody who's not a competitor to you, but they kind of cater to the same demographic, that could be a really powerful source of business, right? So I can't say we did a lot of it, but like, for instance, I don't know, do you have a particular industry that you operate in? So we'll give you like a concrete example as opposed to made up. Okay, nutrition. So, simple example, you get a bunch of fitness trainers and gyms who don't have their own supplements or nutrition coaching. Promote your stuff and get some sort of benefit in return. Simple benefit could be that when people come to you for nutrition, you're going to send them to the fitness professionals for fitness services. Like you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Or it could be they could be an affiliate of sorts. Like, if every gym that sells your, or sends business to your nutritional product, will get some sort of a cut. That's just a simple kind of on the cuff example on the fly. Does it make sense? Okay, awesome. All right. Any other questions, guys? Okay, awesome. So yeah, I think this is pretty much everything I wanted to cover on this session. I will try to think of more e-commerce related things, or something. Maybe if you want one of the things we talked about today covered more in depth, do let me know. There's also in the group, there's a post I made about a survey. 60 people seen it, nobody filled the survey. I don't know if it doesn't mean that they have no questions, but essentially, yeah, it's kind of like, what are you struggling with? What are your business goals? What are you afraid of? What have you tried that didn't work? This will help me kind of hone down on topics to cover next. So make sure you've either filled that out, or if you have specific questions, post them in the group. Other than that, I wanted to end with this. So, you got to surround yourself with A, like-minded individuals, and B, people who are gonna, challenge you and lift you up, and you will do the same for them. So obviously you're in this group, so you already took steps to down that path. Let's get more people in the group, so make sure you guys put the word out, promote it. If you found the content valuable, if you don't think that I'm a scammer, that I deserve to be kicked out of Facebook groups like some people did, but hey, basically, yeah, like, let's try to expand the community, and I'm here to help. Also, if you need some help with implementing any of this or any of the stuff that I taught last month, check out can.enlisted2Entrepreneur.com. I put together a special offer where you can work with me one-on-one, or in a group session. Other than that, this is it for today, and let me know what you thought in the comments. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions you forgot to ask. Like and share this, and I'll see you on the next one. All right. Don't just think about it, do it. That's the big thing. A lot of people kind of stop at the thinking part and fall into the paralysis by analysis trap, and kind of never make a move, or they're constantly stuck in that learning loop. Oh, I gotta learn more, Again, cover this in the challenge material, so I touch on that. But essentially, yeah, that's one trap a lot of people fall into, is they just always feel like they don't know enough to take the first step. And yeah, you need to definitely not get overwhelmed. Because there's a lot you need to learn, but you don't have to learn it all on the day one. Like, you can basically learn as you go. You encounter problems and then you solve them as you go. It's good to know about, anticipate certain things, but you cannot anticipate it all the way to infinity. So yeah, pick a market, figure out how you're gonna help them solve their problem, start doing it, and little by little, you'll get there. So awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you for showing up, taking the time out of your day. I know it's a holiday month. I'm planning to do more of these, so help me by giving me more context to work with. What exactly are the questions, the most common questions I can answer, and I'll do my best to answer them. Or I can bring people from my network who are specialists that maybe know stuff better than I do to help you guys, because everybody wants to help vets. I don't know a single person who would say no. I have some meetings lined up with Veteran Affairs Canada, hopefully soon. See, maybe you can tap into that. And yeah, definitely, it was fun to have more people on the call and have some human interaction. So, all right, I'm going to stop the live and